There are moments in history that are not written with victories or defeats, but with the weary footsteps of ordinary people forced to leave behind everything they once called home. When war swept across continents, it was not only the front lines that changed. Quiet villages, dusty roads, and the innocent eyes of children became silent witnesses to an age of turmoil. In today's video, we will explore three often overlooked aspects of the World War's three realities that reveal the true weight of human endurance, famine, mass evacuation, and large-scale child relocation campaigns. These are not just statistics, and they are not distant events locked away in the pages of a textbook. They are stories of survival, of ordinary people showing extraordinary strength, and of the fragile hope that persists even in the darkest times. If you love emotionally driven, deeply human historical storytelling, do not forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you won't miss any upcoming videos. Now, let us begin our journey. When the World Wars began, many believed that those far from the battlefield would remain safe. Yet history revealed a different truth. Even regions untouched by direct combat suffered under the weight of an invisible threat, famine. Food shortages became widespread as supply lines collapsed. Transport routes were disrupted, and millions of farmers were sent to serve in the military. Fields that once flourished were scarred by explosions or left unattended. Meals grew smaller and simpler. Families learned to survive with thin porridge, wild greens, and substitute foods barely enough to sustain them. Children were the most vulnerable, their tired expressions silently reflecting hardship. At the same time, mass evacuation became unavoidable. These journeys did not begin with preparation or certainty. They began in fear, urgency, and confusion. Some families carried only a few clothes, a small amount of food, or a treasured keepsake. Fathers tried to stay calm for their children. Mothers hid their worries behind forced smiles. Meanwhile, the young gazed at unfamiliar roads, trying to understand why their world had changed overnight. Evacuation routes stretched endlessly footpaths through forests, winding mountain tracks, and shaky bridges. Every step drained energy. Days were scorching, nights were cold, and temporary shelters offered little comfort. Yet the shared struggle created quiet bonds among strangers. Alongside these migrations, the war triggered some of the largest organized evacuation campaigns in human history. In Britain, Operation Pied Piper relocated more than 3 million children away from major cities. They left with name tags around their necks and cardboard suitcases in hand. They did not know where they were going, only that adults were trying to protect them from danger. In the Soviet Union, millions traveled thousands of kilometers by train to remote regions. These trains were crowded and slow, but for many, they were the only route to safety. Japan launched similar efforts, moving students to rural areas where they could continue studying while staying away from vulnerable cities. Letters became the only link between parents and children separated by distance. Through all these stories, one truth becomes clear: war reshapes lives far beyond the battlefield. Yet even in uncertainty, compassion did not disappear. Rural families opened their homes to evacuated children. Volunteers shared food and water with exhausted travelers. Strangers became each other's source of strength. When we look back at these accounts, it becomes clear that the legacy of war is not preserved only through military victories or political decisions. It also lives in quiet memories: meals shared from nearly empty pots, footsteps in dusty evacuation lines, and the sound of trains carrying children toward uncertain futures. These stories remind us that peace is never something to take for granted. It is built upon countless sacrifices, often made by those whose names were never recorded. If this story moved you, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share it so others can reflect on these powerful lessons from history. Wishing you a peaceful evening. Good night, everyone.